correspondent Shamim Chowdhury is across this story. Let's speak to her. Shamim, what about the evacuations and about the shelters that are being set up because of coronavirus? We know that social distancing can be impossible for some people.
Well, Adnan, this is the major challenge being faced by relief teams both in India and Bangladesh. They have a terrible dilemma on their hands. Do you effectively put into place the evacuation process and risk people becoming infected with COVID-19, or do you moderate those measures in order to ensure that social distancing can be maintained? Now, India has India is saying that it has 5,000 evacuation centres that are ready to take in tens of thousands of people. But these centres had been originally set up as quarantine facilities for COVID-19 patients. Similarly, in Bangladesh, authorities there are saying that they have 12,000 centres which can house up to 5 million people, and that they are distributing masks. But really, I mean, you have to ask yourself, how effective is social distancing and protecting individuals from COVID-19 going to be when it's expected that Cyclone Amphan, which is being described as a super cyclone, by the way, it's the largest one to hit the region in over a decade. How is it possible that something of that magnitude can be safely and effectively contained, while at the same time authorities try and protect so many of their people from the coronavirus pandemic?
What about the pandemic in India, the rising rate of infections, and yet there's a nationwide lockdown? Obviously, it's a country of more than 1.3 billion people, but how is India managing the pandemic?
Well, many would say that it's not managing very well. We just heard from my colleague Rahul's report that millions of migrant workers, which he described, which are the backbone of India's economy, had within the space of a few hours lost their livelihoods. Now, the country was given 4 hours notice. It's the world's largest lockdown, a population of 1.3 billion people, and the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, has been heavily criticised for not having an effective plan in place before the lockdown came into effect. He subsequently asked for forgiveness, but he did say that this was the only way to ensure that the virus didn't spread. Now, we already know about how migrant workers have suffered, but just to discuss a little bit about the health infrastructure not just in India but in Bangladesh and also in Pakistan, across the region, in fact. Now, these countries have very weak health infrastructures. To give you a sense of how weak they are, India has about, at the most, 50,000 ventilators, when it's estimated that it will need about 1 million. Similarly, in Bangladesh, it only has a maximum of 2,000 testing kits and about 1,000 ICU beds. This is for a population of 165 million people. So that gives you a sense of just how badly prepared the region is for the COVID-19 virus, which is still on a very upward steep curve at the moment. Neither Bangladesh nor Bangladesh or India have reached their peaks. We're expecting that to happen within the next couple of weeks or so. And that is not to mention the risk that is that the Rohingya refugees in southern Bangladesh, the risk that is being posed on them. They have nowhere to quarantine, and the number of aid workers has been reduced to essential services only in order to contain the spread of the virus. So it's a very, very difficult situation that the region finds itself in. It's by no means getting better. It's going to get worse before it gets better, and that's not even going into the long-term economic impact of nearly 2 billion people.
Shamim, thank you so much. Our correspondent Shamim Chowdhury.